Hi everyone, welcome to the Learning Curve SG, the podcast where we talk about anything and everything regarding not just PE, but also learning as well. So today we are very lucky to have Miss Jane Zhou here to share with us her experience through the instructional mentoring program. She was a beginning teacher with us 3 years ago, but she has since graduated from the instructional mentoring program or IMP and is now a full-fledged teacher who is definitely more confident in engaging her students in their learning today. Yeah. So welcome, Jane, and thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, and thank you to all the giants who's lending me the shoulders to step on throughout this process.
Yeah, thank you. Let us maybe just go straight into the questions which I have for you.
Sounds great.
So first and foremost, how has the instructional mentoring program or the IMP as we know it been for you? Maybe can you share with us your experience on that?
Right, sure. Firstly, I think IMP, I'm so grateful that there's this IMP thing that's going on. And I think I really like the way the acronym is IMP because it's very important also. Development and growth as a BT.
Yes, indeed, it's important.
It's very important. So I really like, I think something that makes it very, very valuable is how informal and how there's really very little pressure when it comes to the conversation or even the relationship I have with my instructional mentor, which makes the conversations very natural and I can really be very real. I remember like the first time I met my instructional mentor, who is Mrs. Chang. Very, very, very grateful to Mrs. Chang if you're watching this. Something I remember the first thing she told me was how like the conversations we have no stakes. Like nothing is going to be evaluated or nothing in there is gonna be appraised in the appraisal and things like that, which is very assuring and it makes the space very safe and allows me to really be who I am and share the very real struggles and therefore get the help that I really need. And I think that is so important in any form of learning actually. Because failure is the mother of success, right? So that's very really deeply edifying, not just in teaching practice, but very much in mental and emotional well-being also, because this job is something that can really take a toll on not just mental but also emotional our capacities, right? Because we are giving so much to our students and everyone around us, and I feel that the most beautiful thing is not just the conversations, but it's really this relationship. This relationship of having someone senior and you can trust, and you know that if something fails or something didn't go well, you know that there's someone you can turn to, someone looking out for you. And that's so precious. That's really so precious. So I'm really, really thankful to the person who started or the people who started this. If not for this IMP, I think it'd be very, very tough to just based on chance to find someone in this position.
Thank you, Jane, for your generous sharing. If I get you correctly, what you really treasure most from the IMP program was the trustworthy relationship that you have built with your mentor. And the reason why this trustworthy relationship has been built was because the mentoring sessions that you have with Mrs. Chang was informal, which helps lower the pressure in the conversation, and therefore, you feel more assured because there's a safe space for you to highlight and share with her the concerns, your struggles that you are facing during your time in the classroom. And this helps, with you receiving the necessary support and guidance, from Mrs. Chang, who is the more senior and experienced person that you're having the conversations with. And ultimately, when this trusting relationship is built, you also feel that your emotional and mental well-being has been improved, which will help you in the longer run in this calling to be a teacher. Because to be very honest, our job, our duty in guiding our students to become better learners is can take an emotional and mental toll on us. Yeah, but having this trusting relationship with someone over the past 2 to 3 years that you can share, okay, your struggles and concern definitely helps lah. Yeah.
2 to 3 and counting. And counting.
Okay. But I see that you are definitely more confident today and more assured in how you handle your class as a whole, as well as individual students as well. So this, I think, really is a testament on the IMP working for you.
Indeed.
But maybe let's dive a little bit deeper into the IMP program. So in addition to...
sorry, there's actually one more thing that I wanted to share. I was wondering whether it's okay. So I'm really, really very grateful, right? And I thought it would be nice to like show a few maybe a little few snippets of anecdotes, how this is really just, it's not like just a program. And it's beyond, it's like really a relationship that can be so touching. And because of how real it is, it can be so edifying. So as y'all can see, I'm like, I don't have my long hair anymore. So because I went for like Hair for Hope. And something that really, really touched me was how on the Hair for Hope page, right, there's this part where like people can leave comments after they have donated and things like that. So Mrs. Chang, she left me a really, really long message, and she really didn't have to do this. But I was so touched because of how really like this bond built and this relationship built, this affection is real lah. And that I feel like that is very, very precious. And that's something that is priceless lor. So I'm very, very grateful that it's more than a program.
Indeed. Because I think we can have systems and structures that drives behavior, but it is really the words that are being used between people within the program itself that gives life to the program. And that is I think that provides the essence and meaning behind the program, that keeps the program alive and really makes it useful and helpful for people.
Indeed.
Because if the words and the tone of the voice that is being used between the people within the program is cold and clinical, yes, we may have the behavior that we want, but at the end of the day, when things go bad or situation changes, will the program last? That's my question. So it's always the relationship that is bounded by the choice of words and the tone of our voice used, that connects people to get something running. Thank you so much for the sharing once again. But like I mentioned, let us dive a little bit deeper on the IMP program, because just now you mentioned about how it helps to build a lasting, trusting relationship that develops you professionally. Can you perhaps share what were some of the things that you have learned from the program, from Mrs. Chang? Perhaps it can be pedagogy, it can be classroom management, it can be assessment. Perhaps can you share with us what have you learned a little bit more from the program?
Sure. So actually, other than T&L strategies, right? Because we entered this program, this IMP thing, after practicum. When we enter into full-time teaching. So actually, because during practicum, there's a lot of T&L already. Like, practicum is is essentially like majority at least
Yes.
TNL. But other than TNL, yes, there's TNL, but other than that, there are a lot of things that actually practicum doesn't really teach us or train us to do. So, for example, how do you work with parents? What is it like to work with different colleagues? The practices and the work outside the classroom, the even things like how to set paper, how to conduct ASP, how to give homework in a sustainable manner, such that I'm not like marking at McDonald's at 3 a.m. and things like that. Which
I did that as well.
Right, yeah, it's so
when I
real.
taught math.
Right, yes, it's so real. And how to like not set traps for ourselves like that. And it's so important to actually also talk about these things, which actually practicum didn't really give us that it didn't load us with those things.
Yeah.
And so like a lot of times in IMP I'll be asking Ms. Chang about, oh, how do I talk to this parent? How do I motivate this student, maybe outside of class even? How do I prepare for lab closure? Like when the practicals are going to start. All these things, you know, it's really like this job is a lot more than just within the classroom. Yeah, so IMP really, really helped me with that. And I think another thing is that as a new full-time teacher, right, we will get a lot of doubts. I think one main thing that was occupying my brain space a lot was this question of, am I good enough? Are my practices good enough? Is what I'm doing sufficient? Do I need to do more? Do I need to mark until 5 a.m. instead of 3 a.m.? The expectations in this job, sometimes they can be very grey, at least to like a new teacher. Yeah, what are the things that you must do? What are the things you must never do? What are the things that that's telling you that you're doing not enough? What are the things that's telling you that you're going above and beyond? I think these lines, it really helps to have someone who has seen a lot more. To show us and let us understand, oh, actually where we are, what it normally looks like, and things like that. Yeah, to step on the shoulders of giants.
Okay, thank you. Maybe can you share with us a little bit more how do you now motivate your students to better learn, during the lessons and outside of lessons, as well as how have you overcome your self-doubt that you have just shared with us, if you don't mind?
Okay, maybe I share a little bit more about the motivation part.
Okay.
Also, because that's also actually one of the some of the beliefs that I have in TNL.
Yes.
I think motivation is very, very important, especially in our school,
Yes.
where I think boys generally can they need a little bit more support in this area. Yeah, with the attention span and everything. I really like this thing that I remember there was once, okay, not once lah, but there was a period of time where there's this lady Sha'en who came down,
Yes.
and she talked to us about this iceberg theory. Basically, what you see on the surface is just the tip of the iceberg, right? And how with every behavior that we see, there's actually a lot of issues and reasons. And I think like the way she explained it was, when you see a kid doing something, be it something you like or something that's not very desirable, what is the true need within? That was something that I think really struck me, and that helps also to when I think of like certain cases of individual students who really, really need to think of ways to motivate them. This theory really helps. Yeah. So for example, actually there was this boy I've been teaching. There's very the low motivation is very, very evident. Yeah, like didn't want to come to school, even if in school like just not interested right? And I was thinking and I was praying also about this student. I was like, what really is the need, right? Because if it's not really about how engaging a lesson is.
Yeah.
Because in every lesson, if it's like that, then it's not really about like we see that experimentally like that factor of like right, that's out. Then I realized that it's a lack of love. It's a lack of someone in his life that really cares, really cares for this boy. And when I see how he interacts with, for example, the people who deal with him a bit more for discipline matters, especially those who show care in small ways, he actually reciprocates, even though he's getting disciplined. Yeah. So that really shows like motivation. It can be something that's very short term, but it can also be something that's very like long drawn and deep seated. Yeah. So that's one thing about motivation that I think it's understanding what the kids really need and what they're screaming out for with their behaviors. And when we meet that need, I think that can help with certain things. Especially the more individual cases that we see that we sometimes struggle with. But other than that, I think in this school I've really learned a lot about boy-centered education. Which helps with motivation also, to lower the bar for, I think, the boys, to make things more digestible and things like that. So they get more engaged. And it's more kinesthetic, and that helps them to get engaged and motivated when they are involved in whatever we are teaching.
Wow. Okay. Wow. You shared quite a lot of things on motivation, and I also strongly believe in motivation as well. You rightfully shared that sometimes it just takes a little bit more of our time to understand the students, and when we are able to understand the students and the needs that they have, it's easier for us to plan out or use suitable strategies to get the students to become more motivated. So starts with understanding. With the right understanding, we apply the right strategies to help the students to become more motivated, and this in turn creates a more sustainable long-term level of motivation, which I would believe that would be more intrinsic in nature. Another little strategy I can think of to create more intrinsic motivation is, instead of simply praising the person who did well, we reframe the way we give the positive affirmation to encourage the person. How to go about doing it? We encourage the person's effort. We encourage the person's effort by probably saying that, wow, I see that you have achieved this. I really like the amount of hard work that you have put in. Keep up the hard work, keep up the effort. Or maybe we can tell the person, I trust that you have gone through quite a bit to achieve what you have done today. And I believe that you can continue on with this effort. Rather than simply just saying, a good job, well done. Which is not in itself wrong, but it probably will. The effectiveness is short term, and the student might go away thinking that
ability.
It's my ability only. It's my ability. What if, let's say, I don't do well the next time round? Then he might give up a little bit more easily without the teacher beside to give the praise. So so you can see the difference between encouragement and just giving simply praise to the student.
Yes, agreed. Very much agreed on. So I think I've been learning quite a lot about motivation in this school. I think it's very edifying lah.
And on your point on boy-centric education, I'm glad that you have tried out some of the strategies which we have been sharing during our staff meeting, because boys at their age right now has a slightly less developed frontal lobe compared to girls, and what is more developed within their brains would be the amygdala and hippocampus, the inner parts of the brain that governs fight, flight, or freeze. So activities that engages
like their hands,
their
kinesthetic.
their hands, movement, and vision helps surprisingly to calm them down and be more engaged during lesson activities. In contrast to a lesson where they
Reading,
they are just
writing, words,
listening to the teacher lecture for the entire lesson. We are really not engaging their frontal lobe, ironically. And when when we are not engaging their frontal lobe, what happens is that their inner brain takes over and they get restless, and the issues of them teasing, and disturbing their friends happen. So boy-centric education, by helping our boys to be more active during their lesson activities, does help, ironically, to calm their inner brain down and be more engaged and focused.
They're opposites.
So it's counterintuitive, but
it works.
It works.
Right.
Yes,
it works.
Okay. I think we have talked quite a bit. I would probably like to know a little bit more about your beliefs in teaching and learning. So maybe can you share with us, Jane, what were your beliefs in teaching and learning when you first started teaching, and how has it changed since then?
Right. I think as a teacher, like first stepping in a boys' school, right, there's a lot of, like, in line with this thing called motivation, right, wanting to motivate them, I try to do a lot of sticks and carrots. Like, if you do this, that's not desirable, then you'll get this consequence, right? And if you do the desirable things, then you get these like rewards. Right, sticks and carrots, classical conditioning and things like that. So actually, there is a significant effectiveness to that. When the boys learn that, if I do things that I'm not supposed to do, then I'll just need to face the music, right? And it makes it a lot less stressful, I think, between like for the TSR. This relationship is not strained. You don't have to keep scolding and screaming at them, because they'll just know that, if I don't do my homework, then I just stay back and do. So it's very like it's like a transaction
very transactional.
But it works because it allows at least you can be smilingly giving them the consequence, instead of like having to strain that unhappy that the relationship, causing it to be unhappy. So I think that really works. But something that I'm realizing this year a little bit more is, like, just now we were talking about praise, and the power of praise, and how actually even in neuroscience, even in Pavlov's classical conditioning, it talks about how giving them an alternative is better than giving them a negative feedback. So like when the animals, they are doing something that is undesirable, when they're shocked, it's not as effective than when we give them something like an alternative pathway to choose. So and when they are praised, that kind of like sets that alternative neural pathway in their brains, which helps. And I've been trying it out a bit more this year, where I try to get them to not just me praising them, but getting them to praise one another. Like, hey bro, good job, and things like that. I was like shoulder taps and stuff. And I'm realizing that it was working wonders. It's making the classroom environment more positive, more encouraging, and the boys learn to enjoy one another more. And even for the boys who maybe didn't feel too comfortable with one another, when that happened, they start to like, hey, actually everyone is friendly lah. So that really helps. And I think also something else I'm learning is, when we correct our students, the importance of connecting before we correct them. So these are the things that I've been learning throughout this journey. So definitely not a super good teacher yet, but I think we are all in like a process of developing and getting better at our job and our art form as teachers lah.
Okay.
Yeah, and other than that, actually, I think as a BT, especially stepping out from practicum, something that I used to be very preoccupied with was the question of whether I'm good enough as a teacher to the students. And throughout this journey, I'm realizing a bit more that actually I'm not just serving the students, but in this position, in this role, I'm also serving the parents, and sometimes even the colleagues. Yeah, so now I think I see it in a more holistic manner.
Okay.
It's not just being a good teacher to students from the students' point of view, but it's am I being a helpful teacher to the parents in supporting their kids learn and grow and develop holistically? Am I being a cooperative and value adding colleague, even to the organization? Yeah, so I think these are all things that I've been seeing and learning along the journey. Yeah.
So can I say that your beliefs in good teaching and learning stems from connecting with your students first through communicating with them, and with good communication, you therefore will be able to build a positive teacher-student relationship, which therefore motivates them to learn better.
Right.
And in when that happens, it indirectly or it directly motivates you again to want to continue to help them, creating a virtuous cycle. So yeah, if I let me gather my thoughts again and
That's fine.
and try to summarize again. So if I get you correctly, your belief in good teaching and learning stems from communicating well with your students first in order to build positive teacher-student relationship. When there is a positive teacher-student relationship, you will be able to understand your students better and therefore come up with better strategies to help them learn. And with better strategies to help students learn better, they enjoy their learning. And when they enjoy their learning, it directly impacts you as a teacher in terms of your motivation to continue teaching, thus creating a virtuous cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah. You also mentioned about praising students, but I differ a little bit on this point to what you have shared. I hope that perhaps you can go a little bit deeper to change the praise to encouragement.
Right, the effort, right?
Yeah, but having said that, the effort, you're right.
Right, the
But
effort.
having said that, if the student has not gotten any praise before from anybody, I think it's good to start off with a praise. It depends on where the student is at or the students are at their point in life. Yeah, and this goes back to the idea of helping them to create dopamine in their brains, which makes them happier, to be where they are at now. Yeah, as opposed to punishment, okay, and negative consequences all the time.
Yeah.
And in the long run, they will totally be demotivated.
Yeah.
Yeah. And second, I think you believe that you need to engage various stakeholders to support the students in their learning and support you to teach them to learn. Because as this saying goes, right, it takes a village to raise a child.
Really,
If you are the only person, supporting the development of the students, imagine you with 30 to 35 students. I think in the long run you will burn out.
Surely.
So if there is help coming in from the parents to say something similar to what they've said in school, yeah, it reinforces the things that we want our students to learn better.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it makes your work easier.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't know whether I got what you shared correctly, but I think this is what I've learned from your sharing. Which
it's a great summary.
Yeah,
Yes.
which I truly appreciate. Yeah, it helps develop me as a teacher also. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Yeah. And I think we want to also talk a little bit about assessment because our school has been talking about assessment literacy for since the start of the year. Can I pick your brains for you to share your thoughts on what you think about assessment in to help support the learning of our students?
Right. I think it's a very good thing that we are looking into assessments. Because I really actually believe that when we use assessments in the right way, it can be very effective and it can really maximize the students' learning. I try to teach always from the point of view as a student. So I try to think about when I was a student, how did I learn best? And I remember how, as a student, I found it most effective when I'm doing papers or I'm doing questions. So I would read whatever instructional, like the textbook or even notes, right? Then after doing the notes, I'll just tackle the questions, like from the math textbook and things like that. And if I didn't do the questions, right, all the things that I've been reading, 80% would be gone. Or at least I wouldn't know what I'm reading, even though I've read through all of these. So with this experience as a student, it really allows me to see that assessments are really very, very important to check, not just check your understanding, but to know actually what I am learning about and what does it mean to have learned. Yeah, what does it mean to have learned? If I have really learned this, what does it look like in writing? Yeah. So I think assessments are really helpful to increase motivation, actually, as ironic as it sounds, because it helps with confidence and preparation. So when students know that I can do the questions to this chapter, they know that they're prepared, and therefore that increases motivation. And that competence increases motivation. Yeah. And I think it's like playing phone games. Right? Like you clear the level, you know, this level, nothing. Right? It's like there's still an evaluation of whether you clear or you don't clear. Yeah. So teaching the way it is tested, I think, is really pretty important in that train of thought, because it helps competence and confidence building. So while that is important, I think there are some ways that we really need to look into to make it effective. So for example, the need of going through, the need of doing corrections if it was not done correctly, because these are the things that will allow the students to get it right the next time they attempt it, and they know where they have gone wrong. So I think feedback is very, very impactful, especially if it's individual, if it's immediate, and if it's acted upon. So individual, immediate, and acted upon, especially the acted upon part, which is corrections, essentially. So actually, this is something that I've been thinking about, and thanks to the school and all the school efforts for bringing these up. And I've been thinking about and trying to also change certain things in my lessons to make it more effective as well. So actually today I tried something new with my class in this area. So in the past, what I would get them to do is I'll get them to do homework, and then we come back to class, and then we go through in class, they do their corrections, and then I mark, right? But I realized that when that happens, they're just copying the answers and not doing the homework. So motivation, right? So what I try to do, I change this up. Okay, we are not doing homework. No homework, yay! Instead, what I got them to do to be more individual, immediate, and something that they can really act upon, right? Is we are all doing the question at the same time. And when they're done with the question, they'll put up a hand. I'll come over and check. If they get it correct, then they clear, they can go on to the next question. And if they don't get it correct, I'll just mark it, and they have to think about why they got it wrong. So, and this happens until they clear it. Then which I think there's still things that I can work on, but I see the good impact, because now I can see that people are really thinking, and people are really trying, and it's individual, immediate, and they can act upon it. So still in a journey of learning and figuring things out. But
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
assessment is wonderful.
Yeah. If I understand the core of what you have really shared, is that feedback is the cornerstone of assessment.
Yes.
Yeah, feedback is the cornerstone of assessment.
Agreed.
Why is that so? Because when there's feedback, basically information and data is being received by the learner as well as the teacher.
Yes.
And this information or data that is received by the learner leads the learning of the learner.
Yes.
And if it goes to the teacher, it guides the pedagogy of the teacher to support the students to continue to learn. But I think even more fundamental than feedback with regards to what you have shared about assessment would be that the students would need to start trying first.
Yes.
Yeah, because if they don't even take the first step to try, it will they will not be able to get the information in the form of feedback.
Right. Or the feedback will be, in a sense, meaningless.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah. To let them know where they've gone wrong, where they've gone right, whether they can move their learning forward, or they need to do the corrections to have a better understanding of that particular thing that they're learning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think what you have shared is really very edifying.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I hear loud and clear that feedback is the cornerstone of assessment. And because it provides information for students to lead their own learning, and for teachers to guide their pedagogy during the lesson.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
And
you.
I think that is about what we have to talk about today. But as always, at the end of each episode, right, I always invite my guests to share one word of advice for our audience. And in your case, because you have just graduated from the instructional mentoring course program, can I pick your brains as to what is one advice that you wish to give to beginning teachers who will be posted to our school or have been just posted to our school?
Of course. I think as a beginning teacher, right, there's a lot of doubt. There's really a lot of doubt. At least I struggle with that. So something that really helps me through this is knowing that there's something that only you can offer. No one else can offer that for the people that you're caring for. So don't feel disheartened and don't let comparison kill you, but work to be the best version of yourself, because only then you can give the most that you can give, because no one else can give for you. So thank you for serving our next generation together.
Okay, so yes, be the best version of yourself. Don't compare, and believe that you are special. Yeah. Okay. Well said. I feel very inspired already. So I probably want to go back to Pharmacy.
Yes.
No, just kidding. Okay, yeah. So yeah, that's it for this episode. And we once again want to thank Jane for sharing her thoughts and experience as well as wisdom over the past 3 years with us at St. Gabriel's. And if you like this episode, please give a like, a share, and subscribe so that more teachers can benefit from this video. And till the next episode, see you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.